Have you ever felt like your pain was something to hide, something to be ashamed of? What if I told you about a woman who took her deepest suffering and turned it into world-famous art? This isn't just a story about a painter. It's a story about the incredible power of the human spirit to find meaning in the midst of agony. Today we're diving deep into the life of Frida Kahlo. Frida Kahlo was born in Mexico back in 1907. Her life was marked by struggle from the very beginning. As a young child, she contracted polio, a disease that left one of her legs permanently weakened and thinner than the other. This physical difference made her a target for bullies. Kids can be cruel, and they nicknamed her Peg Leg Frida. This early experience of illness and isolation set a pattern for much of her life. She often found herself alone, retreating into her own world. But Frida wasn't one to be defined by her limitations. She was incredibly bright, ambitious, and full of curiosity. She had big dreams, and they had nothing to do with art at first. Her goal was to become a doctor. She threw herself into her studies, excelling in science and biology. She was one of the few women at her prestigious school, a testament to her fierce intelligence and determination. It seemed like she was on a clear path, one that would lead her to a life of healing others. Then, at the age of 18, everything changed in a single, catastrophic moment. Frida was riding a bus when it collided violently with a streetcar. The accident was horrific. An iron handrail impaled her body, shattering her spine, her pelvis, and her legs. The injuries were so severe that the doctors who first saw her were astonished she was even alive. They weren't sure she would survive the night, let alone ever walk again. What followed was a nightmare of unimaginable pain and confinement. Frida spent months, which turned into years, trapped in a full-body cast, confined to her bed. The vibrant, ambitious young woman who dreamed of being a doctor was now a prisoner in her own broken body. The physical pain was constant, a relentless companion. But just as profound was the emotional isolation. While her friends were out living their lives, Frida was staring at the ceiling, her world reduced to the four walls of her room. It was during this dark, desperate time that her family, trying to find anything to ease her suffering, had an idea. They placed a large mirror on the canopy of her bed, so she could see herself. They also bought her a special easel and a set of paints. With nothing else to do, surrounded by silence and pain, Frida began to paint. What did she paint? She painted the only subject she had constant access to, herself. Her own face, her own body, her own suffering. For Frida, painting wasn't a career choice or a hobby she picked up. It was a lifeline. It was a way to fill the endless, excruciating hours. She once said, "I paint myself because I am so often alone, and because I am the subject I know best." Her self-portraits were unlike anything people had seen before. They weren't meant to be pretty or flattering. They were brutally honest. She painted herself with the unibrow and faint mustache that she refused to pluck, challenging conventional standards of beauty. She painted herself pierced by arrows, her body broken and held together by a steel corset, her heart exposed and bleeding. These weren't just images. They were visual diaries of her internal world. Her paintings were a raw, unfiltered expression of her pain. She depicted her miscarriages, her numerous surgeries, and the deep emotional toll of her tumultuous relationship with the famous muralist Diego Rivera. At the time, this kind of raw, personal art was shocking. It didn't fit into the popular art movements of the day. Some people found her work disturbing, too strange, or too uncomfortable to look at. They didn't understand why a woman would display her suffering so openly, but Frida didn't care. She wasn't painting for them. She was painting for herself, as a form of survival. Her health problems never went away. Throughout her life, she endured over 30 different surgeries, each one a new ordeal, a new period of recovery and pain. Art was her way of processing it all. It became a language for feelings that were too complex, too deep to be expressed in words. Through her brush, she could communicate the very essence of her existence. Slowly, over time, the world began to catch up. Her work started to gain recognition, not because it was easy or pleasant, but because it was undeniably real. People began to see the power in her honesty. They saw a woman who refused to be a victim, who looked her pain straight in the eye and dared to give it a face and a form. What makes Frida Kahlo so enduringly fascinating is this central paradox. She did not paint to escape her pain. So many of us, when we suffer, look for a distraction, a way out. Frida did the opposite. She ran towards her pain, confronted it, studied it, and transformed it. She took the ugliest, most difficult parts of her life and turned them into something with profound meaning and haunting beauty. Her art became a testament to resilience. It shows us that our scars, both visible and invisible, are a part of our story. They don't have to be sources of shame. They can be sources of strength, of identity, of art. Frida Kahlo's legacy is not just in her iconic paintings hanging in museums around the world. It's in the powerful message that we can face our struggles head-on, and through that confrontation, find our own unique voice and our own form of salvation. She taught us that sometimes the most powerful thing you can do is turn your suffering into your masterpiece. Thank you so much for watching. If this story resonated with you, please hit that like button and subscribe for more deep dives into the lives of incredible people. Let me know in the comments which artist or historical figure you'd like to learn about next. See you in the next video.